In LA this week,
more than 2 million gallons of sewage water spewing onto streets and into the ocean after a sewer line burst in downtown LA. We'll have the quick response from LA Sanitation on this stinky mess.
I'm Rasha Goel. Up next, how LA is teaming up with Google to come up with some needed innovative solutions for the city.
I'm Anna Margos. Hop aboard for a bit of history. We'll take you on the USS Iowa as it celebrates its 4-year anniversary and the opening of a new museum. That's all coming up.
Hello and welcome to LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. I'm Yana Kay. Well, a sewage spill doesn't happen often, but when it does, it can cause a big and stinky mess. But the city proved during a recent spill that it's ready to take quick action to make sure the impact on you and your community is minimized. Gil Reyes has more from downtown LA. Gil.
Yes, Yana, not one of the more pleasant stories we've had to cover here at LA this week. I can tell you, standing out here, the smell is horrible, but this is what happens when sewage spews onto nearby streets and into the ocean after a pipe burst here in downtown Los Angeles.
The industrial area around 6th and Mission Road overflowing with dirty water. An underground sewage pipe broke on July 18th. Crews rushed to install a temporary bypass pipe to contain the flow. Officials say this Band-Aid of sorts will bring systems at area homes and businesses pretty much back to normal.
This work, the bypass is being put in here, takes usually 2 weeks to do. It's being done in less than 24 hours. We think this is something that we stepped up and we are working very hard to minimize impact.
LA Sanitation's Adel Hosh-Khalil says the temporary pipe will suffice until a permanent one is installed. Crews had noticed problems with the old pipe about a week earlier and had planned to install a new one soon, but the unexpected rupture forced an emergency fix-up. Some of the dirty water flowed into the LA River, polluting beaches and forcing closures as far away as Long Beach and Seal Beach. LA City officials say a sewer break like this hasn't happened in decades.
This is something that happened, an accident that happened. We are investigating it, hopefully afterwards, to see what we need to do. We're very smart, we'll learn from it, and we'll make sure it's preventable in the future.
The sewer we're dealing with today was built in 1929, so approaching it very soon its 100th anniversary. So you are dealing with an aging infrastructure. We try to be very proactive on our sewer replacement and repair program.
Officials say the city of Los Angeles has spent over $2 billion over the past decade upgrading our sewer system. In downtown LA, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
LA Sanitation says 2.4 million gallons of untreated waste spilled onto the LA River. Though this briefly closed parts of Seal Beach and Long Beach, LA City beaches, including Venice, were not affected. Well, LA residents say housing the homeless is one of their top concerns, and for city leaders, it's been an ongoing challenge. After declaring homelessness a crisis in LA, city officials took it to the state level to get even more help. Anna Marcos has the details.
City and state leaders toured this vacant lot to show that in this lot, as in most corners of LA, the reminders of homelessness are everywhere.
Everybody, no one is exempted from this. Everyone's got to do their part. So if you've got a vacant lot, you can't let it become a homelessness encampment. If you've got a vacant lot, you can't let it become a crime magnet.
Many here say homelessness has reached a crisis point in cities like LA and San Francisco. And now city and county officials have rallied behind state lawmakers who just passed H.R. 56, a resolution declaring a state of emergency on homelessness in California.
It means rapid rehousing. It means helping those who have mental health challenges. It means getting people off the streets, not shuttling them around the corner so that their dignity and worth is restored. After all, they are members of our community.
And the homeless have changed. We're not talking about just individuals now. We're talking about families. We're talking about little kids. This morning we were driving around my district in Skid Row. And there are little kids out there hungry without a home. This is inexcusable.
There are more than 100,000 homeless residents in California, more than in any state in the country. A good portion of them, almost 48,000, are homeless right here in LA County.
As long as there's somebody who's living in a car, somebody who's living in a tent, that is not our city of angels.
The state legislature has also passed the No Place Like Home program, which will pump close to $2 billion into fighting homelessness throughout the state. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
City leaders say in spite of the problems, they have made some progress on homelessness. They've set aside $138 million in the city budget this year to fight it, and they've quadrupled the number of outreach teams on the streets of Skid Row. They've also housed 6,000 war vets in the last 3 years. Well, if you've ever looked for an affordable apartment in LA, then you know how challenging it can be. Making matters even worse, the number of people moving to the city is outpacing available places to live, creating a housing crisis. Experts weighed in recently on what can be done to turn things around. Anna Marcos was there.
The bottom line is LA needs to build more housing. Market rate housing, affordable housing, shelters, supportive housing for the homeless, and it needs to happen fast.
In LA County, we're about 500,000 units short of what we need to meet the demand for affordable housing. We cannot stay in this deficit and expect that our city is going to continue to be livable.
The East Area Progressive Democrats put on this panel of housing experts to talk about the affordable housing crisis and what the group is calling high-rise development stress. Communities displaced or changed with high-rise development for which the city isn't even collecting development impact fees.
Now, we know that if those development impact fees were being collected at a more rigorous level, as they do with parking tickets, we would have some more revenue to do affordable housing development in the city.
Land costs and development costs are high, and incomes are relatively low compared to most communities in the state. So we get this kind of double whammy of badness.
Even the city's rent control is losing its teeth as LA continues to lose more and more of its affordable housing units. Any units built after 1978 aren't even covered under rent control, which means more and more of these rent-controlled units are falling off the market.
The rent burden makes a difference in how people live and what they can afford. When they're paying so much for rent, they can't afford medicine and food.
Meanwhile, high-rise luxury units run at a 12% vacancy rate, while affordable housing remains scarce.
I'm a huge fan of building affordable housing in any way that we can.
Organizers say the purpose of the panel wasn't to find solutions, but to begin to hammer out possible ideas and to hold government leaders accountable for what has become a full-blown housing crisis. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
You'll get a chance to vote on 2 housing ballot measures soon, the Build a Better LA measure on November 7th and the Neighborhood Integrity Initiative on March 7th. While the city reaches out to developers for ideas on the housing the homeless, small business owners get a lesson on growing their business by using city resources, and parking just got a lot easier for a popular multicultural destination. All these stories in Citybeat. The city of Los Angeles is calling on developers to submit plans for building homeless housing at 8 city-owned properties. City leaders are looking to build more housing for the homeless as part of a larger plan to fight homelessness in Los Angeles, where about 27,000 people are thought to be living on the streets. City officials are asking affordable housing developers to submit proposals for what they believe can be done with the 8 properties. A small business workshop was held recently to help small business owners grow and prosper. The workshop, hosted by the LA Chamber of Commerce Small Business Council, focused on the business resources and opportunities available through the mayor's office. It also highlighted the new tools available through the city's new small business portal and startup guide. The business.lacity.org website offers everything from registering a new business to marketing techniques.
Governments have to know that you're there, and you have to know what's available to you, and there has to be some type of mechanism for that, and I think what the mayor is doing with this is absolutely in the right direction.
1 year after the groundbreaking, Plaza de la Raza's parking lot was officially unveiled to the public by the Department of Recreation and Parks and District 1 Councilmember Gil Cedillo. Situated in the heart of East Los Angeles in Lincoln Park, Plaza de la Raza Cultural Center for the Arts and Education is the only multicultural venue of its kind in the city. With 30 new parking stalls, new landscaping, lighting, and seating area, officials say the newly designed parking lot will improve accessibility and safety for those visiting the cultural center.
Now the community can utilize this without all the conflict and the drama and all the stress that was involved every time you came to an event.
LA has made great strides in going green and creating a more sustainable future for us all, and the Port of LA has played a big part in that transformation. Rasha Goel has more on the latest work being done and how the effort is helping advance Mayor Eric Garcetti's Sustainable City Plan.
The work may be happening at the port, but it affects all Angelenos. Zero emissions means cleaner air for all of us, and it's something that's been among the city's top priorities.
In the last decade, we've cut emissions at the port by half, more than half, and diesel particulate matter and other pollutants are down by more than 80%. That's an incredible thing.
Mayor Eric Garcetti continues to advance his Sustainable City Plan by recently appointing a 10-member Sustainable Freight Advisory Committee who will work together with port officials to advance sustainable growth and expand the use of zero-emission technology at the port.
By 2025, 15% of our goods movement trips should be zero emissions.
I'm looking forward to this group advising me on a large and wide-ranging series of issues, including how to accelerate the introduction of equipment that we know will help us meet our air quality goals and commitments.
In June of this year, the port announced the Pasha Green Omni Terminal project that will pilot various zero and near-zero emissions good movement technologies. The Green Omni Terminal is a solar-powered facility that will move goods from ships to the terminals to clean truck and rail transportation to their final destination.
Pasha will be the first marine terminal in the world capable of generating all of its energy from renewable sources in an emergency situation. This is groundbreaking work.
The terminal is being funded in part by a $14.5 million grant from the California Air Resources Board.
Today marks the beginning of a multi-source project that will help reduce pollution in communities near our ports. These communities are the most severely impacted by port activities, and they greatly need better air quality.
The aim is to improve health and quality of life for residents not only near the port, but also for everyone in Los Angeles. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
The port also announced a series of grants which will allow it to test 20 near-zero natural gas-powered tractors and 5 zero-emission plug-in battery tractors at the Everport Container Terminal. Well, remember what it was like as a kid during summer vacation? Well, there was nothing better. And if you got to go to summer camp, that was just the icing on the cake. And thanks to Camp Wesson, some kids in underserved neighborhoods got to experience just that, and at no cost to their parents. Gil Reyes reports.
Kids from the inner city excited to board the bus to summer camp. They're on their way to 3 days and 2 nights at Camp Wesson. This is Haley Smalls' third visit.
What I want to say is that more people should start coming here because this camp is one of the best camps in the world.
It's also a mini summer vacation for working moms like Haley's mom.
Yeah, give me a break. I have 3 days. I'm going to work hard today, but tomorrow I'm going to take a day off and do something for me.
Camp Wesson is the annual summer camp organized by LA City Council President Herb Wesson. It primarily serves families from disadvantaged areas in Central and South LA. It's for children who usually can't go to camp because of the high cost. But this camp is free. Shorts, shirts, swimming trunks, and food included.
The 10th year. I cannot believe that it has been so long. It's something that the staff here and I look forward to on a yearly basis. So we're excited. We're going to have 100 kids. We'll be up at Hanson Dam. They'll be staying in tents.
You're almost there.
We catch up with the group at Hansen Dam later in the week. The rock climbing wall is a popular but difficult challenge. Hardly anyone makes it to the top on the first try. A life lesson for us all.
About never giving up, reaching your goals, and I'm today working with the climbing wall, which we stress about not giving up, continuing to try, and some of these kids are pretty good.
First try I did it, and then the second time I fell once and got back up and went back up there and touched the bell.
You got it, you got it.
I'm gonna do it this time.
That's what you said?
Yes.
And you did it?
Yes, I did.
All right.
More fun awaits at the lake. Paddleboarding, kayaking, jet skis, towing kids for a tour of the lake. There's all sorts of splashing around.
I've been swimming in the pool for these past few days with my counselor and the other kids that I made friends with.
Belinda Gonzalez is good at making friends, but not so good at kayaking, at least not at first. She got better, though, by listening to her counselors. They taught her to rotate her torso while paddling and to practice.
I forgot that we didn't have to give up. We just had to try harder and harder.
And you did better the second time?
Yes.
Councilman Wesson wishes he had the same summer experiences when he was a kid.
I remember as a child, my mother not having the money to send me to camp. So she saved the money, but I had to be on the waiting list. And I had to sit there and watch a whole busload of kids leave because my name was never called. So I was determined to try to afford the kids in my community a free trip to camp.
The kids are in for another surprise when they arrive home. We'll have more on that on an upcoming episode. Reporting from Camp Wesson, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
And by the way, this year marks Camp Wesson's 10th anniversary. The community group known as Project Save has helped fund the camp for its 10 straight successful seasons. Well, you now have one more reason to visit the historic USS Iowa on the San Pedro Harbor. It now boasts a new museum. Anna Marcos takes us there for a look at naval history.
This retired battleship is more than just another tourist site. It provides a floating reminder of U.S. military might and power. And now on its 4th anniversary, it will give viewers a new window on naval history with the opening of its museum. One of the big draws, an exhibit on the explosion that killed 47 crew members in 1989 during a peacetime exercise.
You'll see some of the exact pieces of metal and steel that was actually crushed through compression and the pressure of the explosion.
We also wanted to share the fact that gunnery has always been a dangerous business in the Navy.
The USS Iowa served 20 years in active service and 50 years in reserve service, navigating our country through World War II, the Korean War, and many other world events, both in wartime and peacetime.
This vessel was used to carry so many folks to help defend and to fight for our country.
These 360-degree panoramas allow visitors to see parts of the ship that aren't open to the public, like boiler rooms, engine rooms. And there's even a brig, which is kind of like a jail. If you were a bad soldier, you got slammed in here for 3 days with just bread and water.
Well, I know they're built for lots of things, so war. There's lots of people died in this ship for us, this generation.
The U.S. commissioned 49 battleships for war. Only 8 were saved. The USS Iowa is the last of those and the only remaining battleship on the continental West Coast, a piece of history in LA's own backyard. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
For more information and tours aboard the USS Iowa, visit pacificbattleship.com. Well, police and firefighters test their endurance in a brutal CrossFit workout. As Gil Reyes reports, it's all in the name of community relations.
3, 2, 1, go!
LA City police and firefighters push their bodies to the limit in a friendly but grueling competition. It's also a chance to offer safety tips to fans in the sidelines, like Briley Hara and her dad, Kyle.
I think it's also important that she has exposure to fire department and police department, so she knows who they are and she knows who to trust.
Look at these pull-ups. These ladies are staying on the pull-up bar.
First responders giving it their all in the Safe Summer CrossFit Challenge. It's LAFD versus LAPD in competitions like the dummy drag, kettlebells, box jumps, and tire flips. The agency with the most repetitions at the end of the contest wins.
They get right to work. No rest for these amazing athletes.
Who's for LAPD? Let me hear it. Who's for LAFD? That's pretty close.
Fire Chief Ralph Terrazas and Police Chief Charlie Beck team up for what's also a family safety fair at USC's Galen Center. Off to the side, this car wreck display shows kids the importance of not speeding and always wearing seatbelts. Pamphlets on pool safety are also handed out, all done in a fun, outdoorsy, sportsman-like environment.
Oftentimes, folks don't get to meet their police officers except for, in a stressful situation for both people involved. And so that's not a good way to start a relationship. The best way to start a relationship is through common activity, and that's what we're doing today.
In the end, LAPD wins it. Then again, everybody wins in events like this. At USC's Galen Center, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
To avenge the loss, Fire Chief Ralph Terrazas hopes to challenge the LAPD in a chili cook-off contest next year. Well, city leaders and the biggest name in tech are hoping to open a new window and a new perspective on some of LA's most pressing challenges. And it all starts with some creative thinking. Rasha Goel has more.
Yana, I'm here at Pico House in downtown Los Angeles, where the Information Technology Agency has partnered up with Google Innovation Labs to bring together 50 city leaders to discuss innovative solutions to some of the city's greatest problems. Through a 6-week series of 5 classes, Google Innovation Labs is giving city leaders the tools to better use its technology and data to help solve issues. City leaders are also given access to Google Enterprise apps along with experts for consultations.
Take that innovation, combine it with LA's key issues around homelessness, around a changing job force, around business development, and use Google X, Google Innovative Thinking, partnered with City Knowledge to try to really implement radical transformational solutions.
Several teams made of city leaders have come together to pick 5 hard challenges in our city to propose possible solutions.
The outcomes we're looking for here are some ideas for prototypes, whether they be new business processes, new technologies, real solutions for some of these problems, and opportunities to change the way the city works.
The City of Angels identified 5 issues: citizen engagement, preventing homelessness, workforce recruitment and development, public safety, and economic development. LAFD Chief Ralph Terrazas identified one of the key points his team is working on.
Well, number one is the ability to train the public on what our plan is for a natural disaster or a man-made disaster. So the general manager of EMD suggested that we focus on how to train the communities.
But training is just one piece of the puzzle. Getting you involved is another. By taking a more proactive approach in participating, the city says you will not only help Los Angeles, but yourself as well.
We want to have the best quality people delivering the best services to LA.
At the completion of the series, the teams will present their ideas and solutions for further evaluation. In downtown Los Angeles, I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
This series will be completed towards the end of August. Well, an Asian celebration centered around flowers brings people of all varieties together. Gil Reyes reports from the Lotus Festival in Echo Park.
Here is nature's sign that summer is in full bloom at Echo Park Lake. The lotus flowers have blossomed. Time for the annual Lotus Festival. It's a celebration of Asian Pacific Islander culture and so much more.
So we just thought we'd stop by, and also we're Asian, so we thought it'd be nice to come here and connect with our ethnic roots.
Everyone seems to be really engaged and into the whole idea of connecting back to an ethnic culture, so I think it's good for everyone.
The lotus flower is a symbol of life and rebirth in Asian culture. The festival is held every summer at Echo Park Lake, site of the largest lotus bed in the United States. And in Los Angeles, one of the most diverse cities, the event, filled with music and dance, has become all-inclusive, bringing people of all types together to celebrate summer.
Well, usually we go for bike rides down to Venice Beach, but we decided we wanted to do something different today, so we went on the internet and Googled events in Los Angeles, and this came up in the search.
This year, the festival pays special tribute to the Republic of Korea, hosting Komdo, or Korean martial arts demonstrations.
Well, every year, of course, there's a different Asian culture that the festival is celebrating, and so there's always a little bit of a difference every year. And then, of course, we've had the lake renewed over the last 5 years, 6 years. The lake was closed and then refurbished, and so it's beautiful now.
Cell phone video catches Echo Park's councilman Mitch O'Farrell and his staff competing in the Dragon Boat Race, a signature event.
And we finished the race in 6 minutes and 15 seconds, so not too bad. Yeah, here's Team Mitch right here. Let's all be safe this summer. Let's love one another. Let's listen to one another. Let's respect one another, especially in this tough season with things the way they are out in the world and out in the country with all these divisions. We can do a lot more just to come together, because at the end of the day, we have vastly more in common with one another.
While celebrating life. At the Lotus Festival, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
This was LA's 36th Lotus Festival. The event takes place every July. Well, if you're a Star Wars fan, then this trilogy will transport you once again to a galaxy far away. Enjoy a summer night out at an annual summer festival at the LA Zoo and a contest for aspiring radio producers. All this in this week's Things to Do.
Somewhere in space, this may all be happening right now.
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. It's been 39 years since audiences first read those words on movie screens. 39 years since we first learned of the Force, of Jedi, lightsabers, X-Wings, and the Death Star. But even after all those years, the Force is still strong with all of us. This August, the Alamo Drafthouse will celebrate our love for the movie trilogy with rare digital screenings of the special edition versions of A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, and The Return of the Jedi. It all begins on Saturday, August 6th at the Ace Hotel. Visit drafthouse.com for more. Brew at the LA Zoo returns for the summer, featuring more than 40 local craft and microbreweries, eclectic live music lineup, DJ Johnny Hawks dancing, pub-style grub, VIP lounge with food, specialty drinks, and early access. Zookeeper talks, up-close animal encounters, and visits to habitats. It all takes place Friday, August 5th from 7 to 11 p.m. at the Los Angeles Zoo and Botanical Gardens. For more, visit lazoo.com. KCRW's 4th annual 24-hour radio race is a whirlwind day of high-stakes radio making for producers of any experience level. You'll have 24 hours to write, record, and edit a nonfiction radio story based on a theme. There'll be prizes galore, including the opportunity to have your piece featured on KCRW's Unfictional. It's an opportunity to produce the most original, the most moving, the most inventive, the most unexpected piece of instant radio anyone will hear in 2016. This year's race will take place Saturday, August 6th to Sunday, August 7th. Register at kcrw.com/radio race between now and midnight of August 5th. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kay, and from all of us here at LA This Week, thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacitywiew.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.